a coin called sushi is up 350% from the lows. Okay, so we had some resistance, right? This isn't a clear uptrend. This right now, compared to everything I've shown you guys, right? If you compare this to BTC, right? BTC right now kind of going down. Okay, this coin shows a clear uptrend and it's going to provide me the best opportunity to make money. Right? We just put in a fresh high. We look really good. So let's talk about it. I will be looking. So let's go 4 hour. Right? 4 hour, we had resistance here. We had resistance, resistance, resistance. We broke through super clean. And then we really kind of faked this out. So actually last night before bed, I was long sushi somewhere here. And I ended up getting stopped out because this wicked a little too far. So good thing I didn't signal it. But, right, candle closed above. We look really strong. Where would I like to get in? I'd like to get in on this previous resistance if I have an opportunity to. So this whole gray area here, right, price got rejected, rejected, rejected. If I get any type of dip, down to here, I'll be looking to buy. Honestly, for a scalp, so yeah, that comes with a little bit of experience. There's things that like I simply can't just teach all the time because we'll do the lessons. Like there's tomorrow's support and resistance with the 3 principles that I use. Then there's like patterns, right? We have, actually, let me just pull it up. We have tons of patterns, right? I could see something like any of these patterns I might see for me to want to, have more reason to get in. I might see candlesticks I don't use as much as other people, but there's some candlesticks I might see. So I would have other reasons. This is what I'm seeing. Right off the bat, right? I have reason to believe that this will continue going up. A long around here, let's say, sorry, I'm going to use my tool, right? I talked to you guys about it. A long around here. My stop loss is like pretty tight here, 5%. I'm willing to risk that. As opposed, because my trade idea, I believe it's invalidated if we break below here. Okay, because if we come back to this level over here, that means we lost this resistance, didn't act as support, and we broke all the way down to here. So I'm invalidated down here. If I wanted to long right now, I'm really still only invalidated if we break below there. But right now, that'd be too far out of my risk parameters. Does that make sense? So I would take probably a fib from this low to the high. So I'll be looking, right? I'll be looking to see maybe we hold at the 382 here. What this means is, right, this fib is the start of a move, and this was the top of this move. Okay, now these are all my retracements. We might retrace 23.6%, we might retrace 38.2, or we might retrace 50%, or even here. Okay. So, I want to see some type, if I would possibly take a long up here, if we see some type of, if we start holding these levels and we kind of make one of these patterns that I talked about. Let's say we make something like this, a bullish rectangle, right? We kind of consolidate sideways, and then I look to get the breakout upwards. Let's say we get a bullish pennant, something like this, like a kind of triangle. Then I'd be willing to long where price currently is. Okay, if we get some type of, sorry, this is getting messy. If we get some type of pattern up here, which I'm not seeing quite yet. All right, but let's say we start going like this. I then think that maybe we're not ever going to get the retest down here, right? So I need to change my game plan to looking to get in maybe on like a retest there or in this zone. So right now I'm just watching high or low. That's really all it is. So I got, before we'll go back to that, I'm so sorry. I got my alert on sushi. So right guys, so far we're possibly holding this, the rectangle that I set, something along these lines, right? Consolidating. Again, I don't know. We could come back and dip, but that's right. That scenarios, I mentioned 3 scenarios. Right now, that first one's probably playing out best. Update on sushi, right? So far, exactly like I said, for that first scenario is playing out, right? What are we seeing? We're literally just seeing a bullish rectangle, okay? And that's bullish, right? Why is it bullish? We had a nice move up. All we're doing right now is moving sideways. I'm not certain that it's going to break up, but there's a higher chance of it breaking up due to this trend and it breaking down. It's just probability. That's honestly what it is. It is just probability. So guys, we are gonna go over sushi. Sushi. So we talked about it last night in the live stream, and it was right here consolidating, okay? So what we saw, right, is we had that exact bullish rectangle, bullish flat that I was talking about, right? We went sideways, 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 sideways. We saw a huge breakthrough with volume on the 5 minute. So this could have been a cue to scalp long right here, right? We probably could have got in on the breakout and made about 5%, just going long right there. And then what did I say also, right? When it breaks through, we oftentimes will get a retest. So we came back down and retested it. And for the rest of the day, we trended up, right? So there was 2 trades here. There was a 10% trade right here. And if we got in after this breakout, there was about a 5% trade there. Okay, so, you know, played out really well with what we said. And all right, here we go, Matt. Where are we at? Golden pocket. Probably not, actually. Definitely not. Kinda. All right, so, right, huge pump up. Let's just see how much this was. 600%. Huge pump up, and now we got obviously a pretty deep retracement, but this retracement, it looks like it's fading a little bit, right? We're kind of getting this rounding bottom. We could possibly start to see a move up on this, okay? You guys see here, like if you compare this low to the next low is 16%. This low to this low is 15%. This low to this low down here is only 5%, right? So obviously the bears are kind of running a little bit out of momentum. I think if we break above this right here on this coin, right? Resistance, guys. Resistance, resistance, resistance. I bet you maybe even this was, right? And this is always how it works. If I drag this to the left, you can see that this is a level we've interacted with for so many times. This is always how it is, right? Resistance. Some resistance, some support. Okay, so right now we're interacting with this major level. What happens if we break above that level? Well, that's the trade. That's the trigger right here. You always want to zoom out as much as possible, okay? Because when you zoom out, you can see how pivotal this level is. So that's this one here. I will set an alert. It could even be this was resistance and it could be retesting. But anyways, I'll set an alert up here. All right. So that was CVC with the Bitcoin pair. Now I'll check it with Tether, which is the US dollar pair. It's going to look very similar. Yeah. Just a little less data to look at. But even here, you can see, right? We're just testing this really important level here. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll set an alert. Here, let me ask you guys this, okay? Where are we going? Where do you think we're going? What's a reasonable spot to go to the upside if we break above here? All right. If we break above, we retest and we start trending. Where do you think we stop next? Yeah, look up here. Yeah, I mean, this is logical, right? Very, very logical. And I agree with you, Dante. I would probably do one more just right here, but I completely agree that this is probably the main spot. I'd probably do this one just because we had some interaction, support, resistance. But like this is, I would definitely keep some running for this possible target up here. Okay. So yes, your answer is right. It's just I wouldn't hold that. That's like a 25% move. We're just gonna take profit before that, no matter what. That's it. But other than that, perfect. The VPVR, I've talked to you guys about this a little bit. Yeah, so it's called visible range. If you go to volume profile here, visible range. And then my settings, I use 240 as row size. Okay. And you can see exactly that. So take me back, right? I marked out these, before I had this, I marked out these 2 levels. This is going to be key for you guys to realize, right? I marked out this level as a possible spot to take profit. And then I marked out this level. I'm now going to put VPVR on. And literally the 2 levels that I marked out are where the highest volume nodes are, meaning the most number of shares are traded there and there. Okay, so this was the right spot and this was the right spot, technically. So I'll put this on the watch list as well. And then the other one I want to go over was CVC. It looks a little bit messier now. But, right, we charted it last night right down here. We charted it last night right when it was down here. And we got the breakout, and it was a massive breakout. And what did we talk about, right? So we had this resistance level right here. Okay, my next point of area was right here, and my next one was up here. Dante helped me with that, okay? So what we saw was, right, we saw the breakout. If I go to a lower time frame, we saw the breakout right here. A little bit of a retest. Sorry, that's where you would have entered. And this trade ended up being, you know, it was up 50% today. Okay, so, you know, just an overall beautiful day. Probably will see some follow through just because of, you know, how much it's up. This was the BTC pair that I talked about, right? Same thing. Broke through this resistance. I mean, almost perfect. I still had this drawn from last night, right? It broke through on this candle, came back down, retested right where I said, right at this candle wick right here. So this was the entry, and the BTC pair is up about 37% right now. Earlier today, about 55. So what this, you know, both CVC and Sushi ended up being great plays. Cheers.